What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Level With You show. My name is Wiley Olmstead, and this week, as always, I am joined by, look, he's got his own box now, the Phantom producer, Tyler Hadley.
Woot woot. Got my own box. Gang's all here.
Looking good. The Sub-Zero hero slash best bonus dad ever, Kenny Castro.
What's up? What's up, everybody? How's it going?
And last but certainly not least, the Do Artistic one himself, Anthony Duart.
How's it going?
Big week this week on the Twitch channel as well as the YouTube channel, mostly thanks to Kenny Castro, but some other great contributions as well. And you should definitely be checking that out. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join our Discord. You can find the details on how to do so in the description below. If you want to listen later on podcast services, you can do that as well. So next gen is here. Tyler's got the PS5, Kenny's got the Series X, Anthony's playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, so he's doing that, which is cool. I've got the new Assassin's Creed. There's just so much going on.
Too much
And
going on, you might say.
You might
I'm
say
overstimulated.
Never enough going on.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
yes, we've got a lot of games to get to, so we're not even going to have our usual kind of random topic of the show because we know that the games talk is going to be pretty dominant. Got a couple questions from listeners. We'll get to those later. But for now, let's begin the show with how's everybody doing?
Been good, man. Been pretty good. Nothing too crazy. Just usual work. Getting ready for Thanksgiving. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Are you going to be the head chef this year?
Well, I always like to make a turkey each year. Obviously, might just be me, Caitlin, and Diener here eating, but I'll still probably make way too much food just because I don't know. I like to cook stuff around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually never taken on the task of making a whole turkey bird. Done chicken
Dude.
several times.
You gotta
I know.
experience
It
it.
looks like a lot. I don't blame you. It looks like a whole big process.
Yeah, the past 2
I-
years I made one.
I was thinking that I was to do a buttermilk brine that I saw in this New York Times video that made it look real good. And have you ever done a spatchcocking?
I don't know what that
Wiley,
is.
you can't say that. You can't say that on YouTube. We're gonna get demonetized. I'll have to have him. I have to blur that out in post. Have to edit that out.
Bleep it.
You should look it up, Tyler. It's like when you cut out the backbone of the turkey and you can kind of smash it flat and it cooks in like half the time. It cooks in like 90 minutes.
Huh.
Um, and all the cool kids are doing it is what they're telling me over on the
Cock
streets.
brining.
Smash cocking.
Smash cocking.
And
No,
Kenny,
that's the tournament. That's what our tournament name was gonna be. I think you're thinking of something else.
Especially the tournament that's around in November, Smash Cocking.
Smash cocking.
yep, coming to you next year. Level With You is back on the scene with the Smash Cock Extravaganza.
Coming to I was gonna get theater, but I don't think a theater will support us.
Well,
The
right
Cranberry
now,
sauce.
technically, we could rent out a theater for dirt cheap. So
That's true.
That's
Well, I mean,
true.
we
These
have to
places
get out
are
of there by
getting
like
desperate.
9:30.
the input lag would be insane, but
Oh, it'd be terrible. Just projector lag.
I feel bad for these movie theaters, man. These bowling alleys.
Oh
Man,
yeah. Well, I mean, they
man,
get to
it's
close
tough.
earlier rather than staying out till like 1:32 normally.
They're
Mhm.
barely getting anybody in there too.
Yeah. I think they're still getting like a decent amount of people. My roommate's actually a manager at Cinemark, and she still gets like a surprising amount of people that want to go out and
Really?
look around.
'Cause I mean, you look at the movies they're playing, they're like, I don't know, let's show Jaws or
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas or American Sniper for some reason.
You know what they
Yeah.
should do is they should show all the direct-to-video sequels of the Disney movies that came out on
Oh
VHS.
my God!
They
Like
should give
Pocahontas
them-
too.
Yeah, they should give them their time to shine in the theaters.
Not a bad
Aladdin
idea.
2, King of Thieves.
There was Aladdin 3, The Return of Jafar. Is that what it was?
One of them was Return of Jafar. I think that was the second one. The third one was like where he met his dad. I think
Huh.
they
Well,
got
if
Homer
that's-
Simpson for that one. They got Homer Simpson as the genie in the second one, and then the Robin Williams came back for some reason for the third one.
that was quite a trip down memory lane.
So what's on
Oh,
your
yeah.
menu, Wiley? Before we get too far for Thanksgiving, what's something I want to know? because if people might not realize that I'm gonna start pushing Wiley. I'm gonna make his own little channel inside the Level with You server for him to post his meals because it's always nicely plated. It's always something very interesting. Try and see if we could bring our community together with some nice cooked meals from because we just got a new member. I don't know if you guys realize that one of the new members, I think it was something ketchup. He's from Russia. So we're now
Ooh.
gaining members in the server from all over the world.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Welcome.
We have
Welcome
two in the
to internet.
UK. We got one in Russia now. We're reaching all over the world. So
Very
What's
cool. I
up-
did not know
what's-
that.
what's one plate you're definitely gonna make for Thanksgiving?
Well, I guess you're caught me off guard a little bit because I don't have a specialty that I make for the holidays. I just sort of, I make mashed potatoes. I'll help out with stuffing and the turkey and with the carving, but it's not really my this is the year that I've most been into cooking. Like I've always been somebody that liked to cook, or at least I have been for several years. But I think with quarantine and just needing sort of a new creative outlet, hobby, something that makes Elena happy, something that I can continue to improve at, and I've always loved food, so this is the year that I've really stepped it up, I guess. So
it's like that My Hero episode, Wiley. You need your another signature move. The Thanksgiving
come up with
signature
it.
move.
So
or it's like the Food Wars episode where I need my signature dish. Yes.
Exactly.
Or fighting foodons, the whole show. If anybody.
so
remembers that.
what about this, Wiley? Well, if you were invited to a friendsgiving of sorts, what would be the dish that you would make? What would say?
I'd probably try to do like a nice sausage stuffing, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, something that would transport well. Like I wouldn't, most of the stuff I make is, I don't know, not traditional Thanksgiving fare. So
I like that though. That's like Thanksgiving dishes that I like to see. It's not traditional.
That's the thing that gives it a little flair. You got to spice up the Thanksgiving dinner somehow.
mm-hmm.
Just be like Anthony and bring a $5 tacos from Taco Bell.
Yeah, I brought the taco 12-pack, and Tyler's dad was he was blown away. He was speechless. He's like, "What?" And I'm sitting there, and I'm just shuffling the turkey into the taco. Oh man, that was a good
Oh, you
Thanksgiving.
are amazing. You seem to amaze me.
And you're big on the green bean casserole, right, Tyler?
Oh yeah, that's
Disgusting.
my absolute favorite. I throw
You don't like green bean
some
casserole?
bacon in
Little
it.
Crispies?
I'll throw some other.
Disgusting.
Not with the little crispies, onion crispies on top. Ooh.
Do you use the Campbell's cream of mushroom?
Oh hell yeah, got to.
Yeah. So that's like I've heard. I think my roommate told this recently that like 80% of the sales of that soup are around Thanksgiving to make green bean casserole.
I believe it.
So, yeah,
It doesn't sell any other time of the year, but now.
a couple weeks from now we'll be eating our turkey leftovers on the show.
Mhm.
But until then, we'll be playing lots of video games because that's what we do.
And that's what the people came for, right?
Yep. And this week we are going to be starting with Tyler, the man who was able to secure the PS5, and he's completed Astro's Playroom. He's completed Bug Snacks. He is getting his ass kicked in Demon Souls. He's got the whole experience ready to
Yeah.
relay to you.
Crazy.
Why don't we start off, before we even jump into the games, with the interface and the controller, which he's holding up if you're listening.
Dual
Tell us
sides.
about the boomerang from Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, overall, it's definitely an experience. It's definitely a change of pace. It takes some getting used to, because for the past 7 years or whatever, how long it's been, we've been playing PlayStation 4, then it's kind of always had the same UI to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it. I mean, there's definitely still some things. So, I mean, you don't have like themes anymore, which is kind of a little bit of a bummer, especially since you got all themes with PS4. You can't really use them anymore on the home screen. They have the new navigation. So one thing with that I will say that has kind of been a gripe of mine is every time I want to power down the PlayStation or put it into rest mode, I'm just so used to holding down the middle button and then having it bring up that side column on PS4. Whereas now I can't remember what technical name for it. They bring up, you hit it once, it brings up that hub, then you have to scroll all the way to the right to get to the power option. It's definitely not as easy as it was on the PlayStation 4.
And have you run into any issues that people are having with the rest mode?
No, not that I have. I mean, I know I've been seeing a lot of people saying they've been having issues in regards to there's been a couple things that I've seen. People have saying they've been having issues when they plug in an external hard drive. I haven't even done that. To be honest, I don't even really see a need to do that because I'm just kind of starting off fresh. I'm only going to download the games that I know I'm going to play. Once I'm done with them, I'll probably just uninstall them because I want to make sure I don't mess anything up. I'll get a new external hard drive when Sony announces some good ones to use. That's an actual SSD, and so it can still play all the games like how they would be played on the current SSD in the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, it is a pretty small storage space. It's like 650 something gigs, I think, which is a little bit less than the Series X, which I think is about 800. But you know, I think have you noticed a difference in the download speeds?
It does seem a little bit faster. I'm pretty sure the only not PS5 game that I downloaded was Rocket League. But everything else seemed pretty quick. The load times for all of the games are super quick. They have the switcher, which is I guess what they like aim to be kind of similar to the quick resume. I mean, it's not exactly quick resume because all the games aren't suspended like an Xbox. The games are actually shutting down, but you have the switcher area where it'll show you your most recently played, like top 3 most recently played either games and media. So you can easily kind of navigate using that switcher based on a single press of the PlayStation button.
Okay, that sounds like a neat little feature. But overall, I guess we were expecting it to not have themes, at least maybe initially. Talked about that a couple episodes ago. And I'm sure they'll work out the kinks as far as the UI is concerned. I mean, overall, it sounds like you're pretty happy with it, but what we really want to know about is the games. How are you liking that Astro's Playroom?
How big of a playroom do you have? How many times you died in Demon Souls? What do Bugsnax smells like? These are the questions.
Dude, I died so many times in Demon Souls. Bugsnax was sick. I'll talk more about it later. But Astro's Playroom, man, it's an awesome game to come with the PlayStation. It really takes full advantage of all of the features of the DualSense, using all of the haptic controls. I mean, like when you talk about like resistance, like with these haptic triggers, like there really is resistance. Like you can feel like kind of like almost, it doesn't like actually click, but like the resistance that it puts on with these triggers, you kind of like, you push it down, there's like a little bit of resistance, and then eventually you'll get to that point where it just like does the action. So things like drawing bows, there's one area where you're flying like a rocket ship, and each one of the boosters corresponds to one of the triggers. So the triggers are like kind of like constantly vibrating a little bit as like you're boosting, and just like a super cool feeling.
So how's the rumble too?
Yeah, the rumble's been great. I mean, both of them combined have been really awesome. I'm definitely interested to see how other games will incorporate them. All of these features. Maybe I just like haven't been paying close enough attention to it, but like I did download the PS5 version of Assassin's Creed, and I can't remember whether or not they use the haptics for like drawing your bow or anything like that yet. I'll have to pay more attention next time.
That. One game that I have heard makes really significant use of it that you could download is Borderlands 3. I hear that the guns really they've gone to the drawing board and done a lot of cool things with that, and you know, of course, the possibilities are endless there. I
Yeah.
did wrap up. I'll say real quick, just I wrapped up the 4th expansion of the Borderlands 3 DLC. I thought it was pretty good. I see the community is pretty divided on it, but I
Did
really
you like it more
enjoyed.
than Tentacles?
No, that was my favorite one. That was my favorite. The Guns, Love, and Tacticals really was the high mark of the season pass for me. And now there's a second one, and it doesn't seem like it's story based. Seems a little bit more multiplayer focused, and I don't know. What's the word? Uh, horde mode based. From
Mhm.
what I'm gathering in the trailer, and I'm just ready to give Borderlands a little break. I loved it when you guys didn't jump on it with me. That's okay, but maybe next time you will, especially now, Tyler, that you can get the PS5 version. But
Gonna
anyway,
start all over.
that was a little random aside. But Astro's Playroom, back to it. How long did it take you to beat?
I think it was like just about like 5 hours ish. Maybe not even that long. Maybe it was only like 3 to 5 hours. I would say I can't remember the exact amount of time. Um, but it's really cool. I mean, because you're going through all these different areas and you're doing different objective based things, and you're one area you're like has like a spring platformer to it where you're like push down the trigger and it has the haptic feedback. You're platforming around. Another one has like a ball where you jump inside of a ball and you use the trackpad. You swipe on the trackpad to actually like roll in a certain direction. The other one has like the rocket boosters that I mentioned. What was
I've been hearing a lot of the PlayStation lore in it.
Yeah, so each area that you go into, you collect puzzle pieces and artifacts. The artifacts that you collect that are hidden around the areas, you actually kind of have to like actually look for some of them, or like go off the beaten path in order to get them. Um, each area is the artifacts either are from PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, or PlayStation 4. So you go into like the PlayStation 1 area and you're unlocking like the screen that you can install onto your PlayStation 1 that like pops up or something, so you can like kind of like play mobilely or ish.
That's cool.
There's just like all kinds of like, you have the PlayStation 1 controller, then you have the DualShock controller that you unlocked in the PlayStation 1 area. Same thing goes
You
for
have
like
like old
PlayStation 2.
models of Lara Croft.
With the big old
No,
pointers.
nothing like that. It's really just like the hardware from each generation.
Gotcha. Okay, well, sounds like a positive pack-in and an excellent showcase of the DualSense. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's neat
mean
that
it's a great platformer in general. I think Astrobot has a place in PlayStation as kind of Mario does for Nintendo. I think it's something that they could probably easily.
Astro
Okay.
Kart, bring it to me. So there's another game that's been sort of taken over the Level With You YouTube channel. Anthony and Kenny have been apparently talking to each other like little school children about it. And that is Yakuza Like a Dragon. And with that, I give you two gentlemen the floor.
Woo! Honestly,
Ooh.
this is all
Okay,
anybody came to the
let's talk
stream
about. Let's
for.
talk at the same time about it at on 3. Okay, ready? 1,
All right.
2, 3. Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
Well,
It doesn't work out as
so
Yeah, you go
how
first.
how many hours have each of you played so far?
Anthony's ahead of me now. I know that.
I think 20 something so far.
That's a good chunk of
Uh,
hours. First week.
Factor in, so I would say I put in roughly 11, 12, because episode 4 was 4 hours. First 3 were about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, so I'm up there.
Yeah, Kenny's putting in the real work though. The real hours playing it though, because I couldn't be entertaining and play that the whole time. There's certain parts where I was like, I wish somebody else was here experiencing this with me. And we'll get to those. We'll get to mentioning those parts in a bit. But like the one big thing about, like, at least for me, I'm gonna go a little deep here. It's hard about streaming is you got to be constantly. At least I feel like I got to be constantly. You got to be at it. You got to be with it. You got to be entertaining. And you know me, I'm like, my head's
Yeah,
spinning.
I mean, it's certainly streaming is definitely a challenge and comes easier to some than others. I find that my gaming skills go down, that I start just missing things that I would have probably not missed if I was playing solo, as you can
Yeah.
see from the Assassin's Creed first look that we put up this week. I spent about. Did you cut the part out, Kenny?
Yes, I did.
You
Just
did.
like you
Thank
asked. Just like you asked.
You gotta keep in the good stuff.
No, it was just 10 minutes of me just walking around a settlement, just being like,
It was
where.
exactly 7.
It was 7. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not as
That's
bad as I
awesome.
thought. But anyway, yeah, Kenny, you can watch the first 4 episodes, I guess, of the Yakuza Like a Dragon playthrough, and sounds like it's something special. I know you're already considering it for your game of the year.
It
So
it is
what's
it's
so good about it?
running up. Honestly, for me, right? I know that Tyler's been watching the streams, and I think he might feel similar. It's the blend of the humor and just the story. Like they find a way to always blend in this over the top humor, and then they bring you right back to like this significant message they wanted to get across to through the sub story that you were just doing, and you're like,
Oh
wow,
god.
like you're like blown away about how you could have been just fighting guys in diapers, but
I
then
was
it
just gonna say that.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say that too. It's like,
You know,
Like, you go from the big ass, the Yakuza boss and baby diaper playland to like, oh shit, we gotta go to a funeral.
well, yeah, and or you're sitting there talking about and getting advice on like, wow, like this character you just met is having issues with his wife, and they had a newborn, but then finding out like he's overworking himself, but she's also doing all the raising of the child alone, but they never talked, so she never asked him to work more, and he just started working more, and feels like she's nagging all the time, and the communication broke down. But all of that takes place in the middle of a sub story, with you fighting Yakuza members in diapers at a place where they were acting like babies and being like their backs padded, made to burp, and all these things, and you're like, wow, like they
Japan's crazy.
and then like the spoofs. Honestly, they make such good ways to, because the whole thing is main character, big Dragon Quest fan, big RPG fan. So then his imagination starts taking over throughout the story, and you kind of see it in different forms where like enemy encounters, like when you bump into them, they transform into different Sujimons, as they call it. So that's their spoof of Pokemon. So you
Okay.
go through this sub story where you're introduced to Sujimans, which is just weird anomalies of humans throughout the city that you fight, and you have a Suji dex that you fill up by encountering these people and beating them up and collecting data on them.
It's great.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So a big change coming from the series that has been around for 15 years or so now is that the protagonist has always been Kiryu,
Yep.
and he had his swan song with Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, and now it's time for a new protagonist and a new battle style. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the main character and how the transition from beat 'em up to turn-based RPG has been treating you?
Our main character Ichi, every single time he's said Ichi Kazuga, short for
Ichiban.
Ichiban.
He's number
Ichiban.
one.
The number
Yeah,
one.
number one.
Everybody kind of mentions it, like, your name means the best or number one. Like, everybody kind of like has this.
It's endearing because
perspective on
he's kind
what
of embarrassed about it when he's like,
Yep.
oh, it's Kasuga. He's like, what's your name, Kasuga? And they're like, you got a first name? And he's like, it's Ichiban. I swear it's not
Yeah.
fake.
Exactly. So he's like weird about it just because of the meaning of it, and he's been such a great protagonist because he's naive, he's loyal, and he's good at heart. Like throughout
Classic
everything that's
shonen
happened to
hero.
him, he is so good at heart still.
Okay.
He's made me hold out hope for when I turn 40 because
Yep.
you get into the meat of the game when he's like 41 and he's like, man, I can still be a hero. I can still go out and get a
Yep.
job and turn this city around.
Yep.
That's interesting that they have a little bit of an older protagonist, not typical in Japanese games. I remember reading one interview about somebody who had such high praise for Ghost of Tsushima because they thought it was great that Jin was sort of an average looking person in his late 30s or 40s. I mean, anyway, sorry to take things off
Oh,
track there.
no
That's
worries.
the point too. That's a big thing they do. I guess the guys with the Yakuza series is they're like they make it a point to be like, oh, we're not going to stylize it. We kind of want these people to look like real humans, which I really like for once.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge like realism fan, but it actually works out really really well, and I love the way things are portrayed. And it's just like it's like characterized and like kind of tweaked enough where it doesn't really, all the expressions and movement really works for it
Yep.
being kind of like semi-realistic
I think
looking.
there's plenty of unrealism in there too for you.
Oh yeah.
That's perfect. Like you don't even
Is-
get the imagination. Sorry to cut you off, Kenny, but you don't even
no.
get like that imagination transformation, which I thought was gonna happen like at the beginning of the game, but that doesn't happen until like I don't know, maybe 6 hours in. He's just like, "What the?
Exactly.
You guys seeing this stuff?" And he's like, I don't know what you've been
Uh,
smoking, but
They're like, what are you talking about? You really not seeing this? He just turned huge. Well,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
he's
Is
like, "What?
this
Okay."
modern day setting?
2019.
Um,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
2019. They're like it's pre-COVID.
So
Yeah.
it's very crazy too, right? Because our character goes goes into jail when the start of the internet, like 2000, 2001. Like internet's not huge. We don't got smartphones or anything like that. It comes out when smartphones are huge and prevalent and knows nothing about technology and the internet and everything like that. So
They make it
he's
a
like,
point to show you that first scene where he like walks out to the old street he used to like frequent a
Mhm.
lot in his Yakuza days, and there's people there snapping like selfies with using selfie sticks, and they just give a close up of his face, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, classic modern day.
nope.
That's fun. You always like to see that storyline of the prisoner that's been in there forever that feels all displaced, which can be sad too. It made me think
Yeah.
of Shawshank Redemption when you said that.
And that's what it's going for. It's going to pull at your heartstrings while also giving you the humor, the insanity, like the betrayals, the heartbreak. Like as you get so much
In the first like
within that
5
first
hours,
5 to 6 hours, right? Like you're like, wow, what is really going on here? Like it's a roller coaster of emotion just to start off the game.
Dang, Tyler, sounds like we might have to game share this.
you guys
It's
should. I
really
highly
good.
recommend it.
Or is he just gonna watch Kenny play the whole thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Why?
Yeah.
You gotta experience it. You gotta level up your classes. You gotta cheese. I don't know. I'm gonna look into that because I want to figure
What?
out how to get more money.
Oh, honestly, I'm already a avid can collector. I'm nasty at it.
Yeah, you are, Mr. S rank.
S rank on hard.
You should tell them about all the cool little mini games they kind of spurse in, or like activities they spurse into.
Yes.
Spice up the gameplay so it's not just like go from point A to point B and fight these random encounters along the way.
Well, you might have bumped into some more than I have. I know I've done the can collecting.
Oh
I
yeah, but I
got
won't
my
spoil it.
butt kicked in shogi
Dude,
because I don't
couldn't
know what I'm doing.
understand. I have no clue.
I know that I haven't done the karaoke yet. Have
haven't
you done
found it.
karaoke yet?
I don't know where it is.
It's actually, I believe, at the bar that becomes your hangout.
Oh really? Survive Bar? I love that
Yeah.
sign. It looks really cool. That place is so awesome.
Well, so
Also, I think fun fact, Futaba's voice actress is the lady bartender.
really,
There's a lot of Persona 5 English dub voice actors and actresses in Like a Dragon. It's pretty funny to see.
that's amazing. That
Like I
is
think
amazing.
the girl you get is voiced by Makoto. I think that's her same voice
What?
actress. Yeah.
Makes
That's
sense.
that's awesome. And
So I
that's
have a
one other
fellow
thing.
from
Like it has such the RPG party system. Like one of your guys is the healer. You know, the ex nurse, of course, is the healer.
the homeless guy
Uh,
class.
Yeah, and so that's like it's a ragtag group of people. I haven't gotten the
Yeah,
girl
it's
yet,
hilarious.
but you got the ex cop who got fired 2 months,
Adachi.
So
2 months before his retirement.
Mention. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a turn-based RPG now,
Yes.
and you're still just walking around with your Ichi avatar, and then what you have an encounter, and then you suddenly are fighting with a party.
Your party is always following you.
What? Your party's always following you like a.
Like you're at least right now the 2 people I have with me, they're always with me.
Mhm. On the overworld, they're usually like beside you or like walking behind you, unless you
Mhm.
get to a certain. What I've noticed is that when you get into the sub stories, it's usually
Yeah.
just Ichiban. They didn't model the other characters unless it's like a certain one. Because
Yeah.
in
Gotcha.
the Sujimon one, Nanba, the homeless guy's with you. But
Yep. And for the pound mates one,
yeah,
Adachi's
Like
there.
the freaking pound mates.
So pound mates, Wiley, quick little thing is their spoof on summons. and it goes through like this nice little funny sub story where you think the Adachi, which is the ex cop, right, who's been a lonely man who's paid for, who's been referenced to most likely have paid for female services.
He likes his
Uh,
booze and women. They're an
so
expensive
he
hobby.
sees a flyer and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call." He
First
calls.
call
They're
free.
like, "Oh, first call is free. Perfect. We're gonna send it over. We got your coordinates. We're sending one of our top earners right to you." They're like, "Oh man, like, Ichi, they're sending one of the top earners over here. That's awesome."
Yeah, he
And
grabs the
then,
paper from you. He's like, "You missed out, man. I'm getting the best employee."
yep. And then you hear this burly man's voice like, "I'm here. Is that you, Dachi?" And you're like, what's going on? And this is like big, bulky, like boxer guy, like
It's like
with
Kenny
like
if he was a little bit taller
yeah.
and
So
more
then
camo.
so he's like, "I'm here. You called into service for beat up a buddy, right? A buddy beat up, right?" Like they're like, "What? Yeah, I help you beat up people for a fee, but first time's free." So
He's like,
then
we're not gonna have to, and he's like, "No, what? No, we fight people." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
So
mates.
you're like, what? And so then, of course, to introduce you to the mechanic, a couple people run up and they're like talking trash to you. So you're like, all right, you go into the fight. Then you go and summon him, and he's like knocks everybody out once you summon him. And it's crazy. The summon is like you see Ichi come, and it's very dramatic. He's like,
Yeah, he pulls out his phone. There's like anime lines as he's like dialing.
I summon
his,
you."
his finger lights up like bluish and purple. Like I'm like,
It's
oh
like
my
this
god.
game was made in a lab for you guys.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm a little scared. It's very sweet.
Yep. Great.
I also wanted to mention the what is something I noticed in the movie theater mini game.
Oh, the Rams.
I love those.
I feel like that's totally like a spin-off of Catherine, like
Yeah,
because
something
it
like that.
has
That's what I
the
felt
ram
like.
heads.
I felt like it was like a nod, a spin-off to it, like just like a little fan service to it. Like, oh, knock out the Ram, so they don't put you to sleep, and then a random rooster
Yeah,
thrown
don't
in
hit
there.
the cock.
You
Yeah.
don't hit the cock, you hit the cock, you suffer
He comes back
sleepiness.
for revenge.
Yep.
Well, if you
So
want to hear about more of the game or just watch Kenny play it, go to our YouTube channel. It sounds like he's going to be continuing with the series, and we'll be continuing talking about it next week for sure. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about that Assassin's Creed, and Kenny and Tyler are also playing this. Valhalla came out, I believe, same day Series X did, so maybe a week ago. And I have put in about 10 hours. I had an unfortunate experience where had a quest bug on me, and I really had no way of getting out of it. I tried multiple things for about an hour and a half.
How did it
And
bug on you? Like,
I
what did
just,
it? You just couldn't find the objective?
well, it wasn't. After I completed one of the objectives in the mission, I was not able to progress because a cutscene didn't start, and I just couldn't raid this village that I was supposed to, and tried multiple things. Don't want to get too in the weeds about it, but I was lucky and had a save that was shortly beforehand. I didn't realize that until earlier. It was an auto save that I thought was going to be way earlier than it actually was. So it didn't actually end up being too much of a loss, but it was frustrating because I was around exploring, trying to I figured I must be doing something wrong. So I spent 3.5 hours wandering around, doing some mini mysteries and just trying to find the synchronization points. And that's all gone now. So that
Oh,
soured me a little bit,
worst.
but and I know that the game in general seems to be a little bit buggier than the two predecessors, Odyssey and Origins. Not that they didn't have their fair share of issues as well, but um, I am liking the story quite a bit. I think that it's a positive change that they are putting more of an emphasis on it this time than in Odyssey, which was sort of just a barf of side quests just everywhere, nothing but icons to pursue, and some of the quests were really good. Some of them were completely forgettable. I would say most of them likely were. I did like the combat quite a bit, but it seems like they've taken some cues from Breath of the Wild as far as not laying everything out so clearly. You sort of have to actually go out and seek what this gold dot on the map means. It's not going to explicitly tell you. And so I have been enjoying that aspect of the exploration portion of it. It does feel a little bit more organic, and you don't really know what to expect around that next corner. I know you guys didn't play much of the last two. I beat both, and Origins is one of my personal favorites of the generation. So it's going to be hard to top that one for me. But now that I'm past that glitch, I can say that I think the story's really good, and I'm looking forward to continuing my expansion over England. And I guess I'm at the early stages of the base building, and I do think that is more nicely implemented than I expected it to be. You guys haven't quite got there yet, but once you get to England, which is where the bulk of the game takes place, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say the opening early hours are in Norway. It's all snowy, typical Viking stuff. But so now you're in England. You're trying to make a foothold into the town, and so far I've been impressed with the way that you're building out your base. And by the time the game's over, it's going to be like a fully fledged town, which is pretty neat. So what did
Nice.
you guys think in your opening time with it?
I've been enjoying it for sure, and it's been actually like a really long time since I've actually dove into an Assassin's Creed game.
Mhm.
Gosh, maybe not even since like Assassin's Creed like
Mhm.
3 or something.
It's been a while for sure.
Because I didn't play Black Flag, I didn't play Origins, I didn't play whatever else came out.
Syndicate, you
Yeah.
missed a lot of them.
I missed a lot of them, yeah. Yeah, something about this, along with like it being next gen and everything like that, just made me want to jump back in. There's definitely a lot of differences compared to like what I remember Assassin's Creed being.
It's changed. It's a totally new game now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. But I've been enjoying it. I like the combat. I was kind of surprised that it took as long as it did to introduce like the stealth mechanics. But I guess maybe that's how it is now.
This is a game where you get you guys haven't even got the title card yet. It's like an 80-hour game, so I think they introduced the stealth mechanics like 3-4 hours in. You just this random assassin shows up and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? I'm a stealthy guy. Want a hidden blade? Here you go."
Yeah.
It's a little bit forced. It's extremely convenient. I'll just say that, but
It was a gift.
it was a gift. Yeah, but I'm just saying like it's extreme that they just happen to show up and whatever. It's an Assassin's Creed game. They got to have assassins somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I will say that one thing that I was kind of confused on, and I don't know like how they would have. I'm not sure if it's really all that intuitive or not, but there's a couple areas where there's like houses that have like a wealth item inside of it that it seemed like all the doors were barred off, or there was just no door at all. And I was like, how the heck do I get into this house? Like there's no stairs around here. There's like I can't go down and then up. And it took me
exactly what you mean.
It took me the longest time to realize that there was like a piece of the house that I could like shoot with an arrow to break open and then get through.
I know exactly which house you're talking about because I broke it. I broke into it last night.
Yeah, I do think in general that they are making it less handholdy and more. You need to think on your feet and pay attention to your surroundings than the previous games, because those games, for better or for worse, were very, for the most part, there's some exceptions, were very turn your brain off, go to point A, point B, kill a bunch of dudes, and get some loot. This one does seem to have some environmental puzzles, and Tyler, you're right. That's happened to me multiple times, and I usually just say fuck it and move on. But
yeah, that's what I did the first time, and then when I encountered like another house that was like that, I was like, "There's got to be something I can do." Like there has to be.
So what about you, Kenny? What are your thoughts on the opening hours?
I've been enjoying it. I'm a person that, my attention span can be taken away from the main story very easily. So I've been just sailing, trying to explore everything, raiding. I'll zoom in the map, see if there's a treasure. I found it kind of interesting just how you could just bump into mysteries and just random things. Like I bumped into a side quest where a lady was just like, "Hey, find my bracelet," and then you can have a one-on-one time with me. And I was like, "Oh," I read the note, the hint, and I'm like, "Oh, I already know where it is. Let me dive down in the water." And then I was like, "Wow, the water's so cold that the screen starts to freeze if you spend too
Cool,
much
cool
time in
mechanic.
the water."
Cool
Yep,
mechanic.
super cool mechanic. So I was like, okay, I was like, let's pinpoint this before we try and we freeze to death inside the water. I can't be in the water exploring it and freeze to death. So
Do you have a
took
little
me
gauge that
took
tells
me
you
a
how
couple
cold you are?
dives. Yeah. Well, so been enjoying it. The combat's nice. I'd already got my butt kicked by a optional boss.
I'll have to
That
go
I was
back and find that guy. I think I went through Norway a little too quickly because it took me 5 hours, and I know there's a lot more there. And
oh, there's
well, of
so
course,
much there.
I know there's a lot there because some of it you're still leveled out. Like, it's got a very high recommended power level, which is
Mhm.
and something I'll mention for maybe people that played the previous two games. One of the biggest changes is that they have changed the loot drop to an absolute drip feed. Like it is not everywhere. Like in the old Assassin's Creed games, or the previous two, I always sometimes have 40, 50, 60 weapons in my inventory. It was just ridiculous. And in this one, they actually feel significant whenever you get one.
Okay.
Have either of you guys got the sort of the one-armed nunchuck type of weapon yet?
I got some
Like
kind of like flail or something like that, I think.
yeah, flail. That's a good name for. I forget what they're called, but I've been really enjoying that. And when you upgrade them at the blacksmith, they actually change a little bit aesthetically. You can equip runes on them to further customize them. I think the skill tree allows for a lot of varied play styles, and you can respec at any time. I think that's an excellent
That's nice.
feature. Yeah. I will say that one thing I found a little bit, I guess, creating some cognitive dissonance for me is that you're supposed to be a good guy, and then you're just like, hey, look, why don't we go raid that village over there and kill everybody and burn the houses and just like I don't know. And then when you get to England, you're doing it to a bunch of Christians and somebody that has been raised Protestant and has been going to church my whole life. You're just like talking crap about Chris. You don't. It's your crewmates are saying how peculiar that they think that Christianity is, and that it's the church that is the one that we're raiding essentially, and it's just like, huh? I haven't
I've thought
killed
about that.
so many white Christians before in a game, but
It's really turned my perspective on things.
at least in a third-person action game, maybe. And I'm sure it happens all the time in the strategy games, um, but that's been Assassin's Creed for a long time. Your kill counts by the end of the game are in the thousands, and you just kind of have to shrug it off and say, it's a video game.
It's for the greater good. I did it on a computer anyway. Doesn't matter.
But I assume that I'll be playing this one for weeks to come. I'll be streaming it some more, and keep an eye out for that. So why don't we go back to my man Tyler, who's got some more PS5 impressions for us. Take it away. What was Bugsnax like, and why was it the game of the year?
I don't know if I would go that far in calling it game of the
Was
year.
it max quality or was it way better?
It was a good game. Overall, I had fun with it.
Now, when you say good, do you mean good or like good?
It was like dope. It was delicious.
Ooh, tasty.
But I think overall it took me about like 7 hours to complete. It's a pretty simple game. You go around, you collect Bugsnax, and the characters that are living on this island are called Grumpuses. They're just like these furry creatures, and you're going around the island. You're trying to find Lisbert, who is the archaeologist, who kind of like started this exploration of this island, she's gone missing. So you're going around and you're trying to rebuild what do they call it, Snackburg or Snackville or something like that, which is like the town. Once Lisbeth got lost, everybody kind of like went on their own way. So you're going around the different areas trying to get all the Grumpuses back to town. And
so you're collecting Grumpuses and Bugsnax?
Yeah, pretty much. So the objective is to bring all the Grumpuses back together, but while you're doing that, you have to collect certain Bugsnax in these areas, and as the Grumpuses come back to town, they're gonna have like their own side quests that they're gonna ask you to do, and their side quests are gonna be things like collect this Bugsnax and bring it and feed it to me. And as you feed the Grumpuses Bugsnax, you can select what limb of theirs gets turned into something that resembles whatever they ate.
Yeah, that sounds wild. I mean, everybody's been fascinated with the concept of this game since it was released, or at least most people have. Do you think it lived up to expectations?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I mean, it's not as dark as kind of like one of those first trailers made it out to seem. I know with one of the trailers, it kind of had like a twist ending to it, and that's kind of how the game itself is. But the entirety of it is not like that.
I've heard on the Giant Beast cast that they were like playing it with their kids, and they got to a moment where they were like, maybe we shouldn't be playing this with the kids.
A weenie fry or whatever.
Is there like some really terrible death of a character, or does the theme just become more mature? And
is there Bugsnax hot?
I guess towards the end, there might be a couple instances where something happens to a character that may not be great for a young kid. It is kind of like eerie and like kind of spooky.
The Bugsnax are revolting.
You're right. It's also interesting too because the main character Lisbeth, her significant other, they're two female characters. At least I interpreted them as being female characters. So they're a couple, and then there's also a male couple as well in the game. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that they've done.
I was watching the completionist review of it, and he said that there's a lot of heavy emotional, kind of like you wouldn't really expect it from this kind of game, but it can really just throw kind of like emotional curveballs at you. But like, wow, this is really deep. Like though something somebody says where it's like just takes you aback, and you're like, I didn't really expect to experience this feeling playing a game called Bugsnax.
Right. And then in regards to like catching all the Bugsnax, like certain Bugsnax, you have to like lure one Bugsnax into another in order to like knock it out, and then you can capture it. Or certain Bugsnax might be freezing or on fire, and you have to use either a tool or lure another Bugsnax in order to cool it down or put the fire out. Things like that before you can actually capture them. And as you progress everybody's side quests, each person kind of has like a little like mini like final boss to their quest, which ends up being like a legendary Bugsnax, which is just like a massive thing that like incorporates these other puzzle mechanics to actually like defeating. So it's pretty cool.
Any sort of post game here, or is it one and done?
It's one and done so far. I mean, unless they plan on putting out any kind of update. No post game really. I mean, I started to really take a look at the achievements or the trophies.
Platinum that shit.
As I was close to finishing it, because there comes a point where it says, okay, if you continue from this point, you're not going to be able to catch any more Bugsnax or do any more quests.
Point of no return.
Yeah, so once you do end up finishing the game and continuing, you're just sent back to before you actually started the final mission. But there's definitely like trophies that are very specific in terms of like what the trophies want you to do. Like one of the trophies is to feed somebody like a hamburger Bugsnax, a fry Bugsnax, and a soda Bugsnax. It's like kind of like a a Happy Meal or something like that.
Happy Meal.
Nice. And speaking of trophies, any chance of doing that for Astro's Playroom? I heard that a lot of people have been platinum that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I'm not a big trophy hunter in general. But
It's a new
I thought about
generation, new frontier, a new obsession.
A new start.
right.
All right. Well, I'll give you a break and jump back to you so we can close the show out, or at least from the games impression side with Demon Souls. But before we do that, Kenny's been playing another game on the channel, and that is Paper Mario: The Origami King, one that Anthony has always been hesitant to try.
Yes. I know why he's hesitant. There's no leveling up, like anything like that. It's been decent. I would say it has its nice humor to it.
That's
It's
what I hear.
played.
That it's got like, really clever writing.
Yes, it does. It's always kind of like poking fun at itself at most times. Um, the combat's interesting, if I may say. It's not something I'm used to. So it's like almost
That's
like
the
a.
bad part.
It's almost like a puzzle,
Mhm.
So like you have a timer kind of counting down on you, and you gotta kind of try. There's always a perfect way to figure it out, but sometimes you don't because you're just frantically trying to just all right. Let me just line up some of them so I could try and take out some of these enemies, and then I'll figure it out afterwards.
Mhm. Okay.
And what you're trying to do is maximize efficiency. So depending on the weapon you're using, if it's your boots, you want to get enemies lined up, in one row, so that you could just jump over each one in succession.
Okay.
If you're using the mallet, then you want to get them in a square, in a four box square. You know. So
Okay.
And so, are you
Weird.
enjoying the puzzle aspect to the battle system, or you prefer it a little bit more traditional, like Anthony?
um, I'm trying to be open minded to it. It's just getting used to it. That's all. I haven't had too many fights because then there's even some slightly open world combat that you get. You get these
Okay.
big enemies that are kind of like rushing at you, and you kind of gotta sidestep them. Once they run into the wall, or they get tired, you get around them, hit their weak point, and from there you just keep hitting them every single time they stop. And it takes about 3 hits to take them out. Then they drop paper. They drop confetti, which is a nice little mechanic in the game where there's pieces of the world missing, and you have to throw confetti at it to cover it, so that to replace the paper that's been torn from it.
Okay.
Um,
So you're not getting experience points. What are you
Mm.
getting? Is there any point of battling besides
Nothing.
fun?
Honestly, I'd say what I'm seeing and I'm noticing is that the point is it's almost to collect and rescue the toads. You know,
Oh, okay.
because
Oh,
as you rescue and collect the toads, it fills up each battle arena, like your battle arena. So every single time you go into a fight, the more toads you'll see, the stands of them cheering you on filling up, as you rescue more of them. And I haven't used the mechanic yet where you pay them coins and they'll cheer you on in a special kind of way, and something will happen, because I'm like, oh, I only saved 10 of them, so I don't think anything really big special is going to happen if I pay 10 of them to cheer me on. I believe I'll try that maybe in the next video, in one of the next videos that I'll be recording. I'll try that mechanic out, but it's just press Y and you'll pay a certain fee, and something surprising is supposed to happen from them cheering you on. So I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just checking over here because I know a lot of Switch games that never go on sale are actually on sale for around $40.
Black Friday,
Yeah.
Walmart's got some good deals for Switch games. Like $30 is what I heard.
Yeah, I'm hearing
What?
it. I'm
My roommate just
actually
sent me a text.
Best Buy is also gonna have a decent sale on games for Black Friday as well, not just
Really?
Switch games. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
All right, neat. Well, if you want to check out Kenny's early playthrough, it is on the YouTube channel, I believe.
yes, it is, and it's a no commentary one. I decided to go with, because I'm live streaming. I think it's also a nice little change of pace. Some people just kind of want to check out the game, don't want to hear me,
Mm-hmm.
and just want to see it because they don't want to pick it up. They don't want to buy it. So,
Gotcha. Neato. All right. Well, moving on to our final game before we close out with a question from the audience. Tyler, Demon Souls. Why can't you get good? What's stopping you?
It's tough,
It's a
man.
hard game, and you cut up some slack.
Yeah, it is a hard game.
Get good.
It's very, very unforgiving. It doesn't really tell you where you should be going. At least with like some of like the Dark Souls or like Bloodborne games, there's somewhat of a bit of a path to kind of like have a general understanding of where to go. Whereas in Demon Souls, I think I'm struggling with you're in the what's it called, that kind of like hub world,
The Nexus.
the Nexus, and then you have each of the archangels or arc whatever they're called. So I'm really not sure whether or not I should just kind of keep plugging along in that first area, that first platform that I started with, where I fought the big slime monster, which that boss was actually extremely easy. The following boss after that, the giant Titan Knight,
The Tower Knights. The
Tower
infamous
Knight.
Tower Knight.
I fought him a few times, haven't really been able to put much of a dent in him. I think it's just a matter of me getting good though and figuring out how to dodge around him.
Mm-hmm.
But then because I was getting frustrated kind of with not being able to beat him, I was like, oh well, maybe I should go to one of the other areas and do something there first. So I did that, and man, I got even more frustrated because I got like a ways in, and to a point where there were just like some little rats, and like the very last rat that I was about to kill ended up plaguing me, and I'm like, oh cool, I have no items to cure plague, so my health is just constantly going down.
Wow. Yeah, that game had some serious, like, getting cursed or getting a plague, I think, is something that the Dark Souls series really shocked people with. Like, I know in the original Dark Souls, you can get cursed, and I can't even remember off the top of my head, but it's something devastating happens to your health. And were you able to find the Kling Ring?
No, I mean, you said it was in that first area. If it's before the tower Knight, I definitely hadn't found it there. But you're saying you
Yeah, I
weren't sure
can't
if
recall.
it could be after.
Yeah, it could be after it. And for the Nexus that you're describing, for people that don't know, like, Demon Souls is really the only of the Soulsborne games made by From Software that isn't completely open world. Like, well, I guess if you factor in Bloodborne, but that's a little bit different. But in this one, it's sort of like a Crash Bandicoot warp room. Like, there's 5 sections that you can go to. Tyler's talking mostly about the first area where he's running into trouble with the Tower Knight. I can't remember, as someone who's finished the original, are the other 3 or 4 available right now, or are you maybe only have one more you can go to?
No, I can go to all of them right now. So there's
Oh wow,
there's 1, 2. I think there's 1, 2, 3. I think there's 6 in total.
6 in total. Okay.
So
Well,
it's
I
like the
don't.
Firelink Shrine then, right? Kind of.
Yeah, kinda. Okay, more akin to the Firelink Shrine in 3, but those games have fast travel like nobody's business. So like Demon Souls doesn't, right? Once you're in an area, you have to kind of commit to it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty sure the only checkpoints that you have are after you beat each boss. So that's also been a struggle, is kind of like the lack of checkpoints, or there's really no shortcuts back to kind of like where you began. At least not that I found. I mean, there's that one shortcut before you fight the first boss in the first area, but that's really just to like open up that big gate. But I haven't noticed anything else in the other area. I mean, I've only been to 2 areas so far, but
Gotcha. Can you guys hear me?
yeah.
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 Okay, I just got a notification that Discord wasn't picking up my mic. Well, it's I'm, eh, tell me the good stuff because I know there's got to be some of that there. It's sitting at 92 on Metacritic. All the real gamers love it. So
All the real gamers love
Wow, low blow.
Well, apparently all the real gamers don't also play Rocket League.
I'm just kidding. I would certainly be right there with you in the struggle bus.
The combat feels good. That the parry system feels right. There's a good, like, I haven't felt like the timing is off or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely, when I have missed a parry, it's like, okay, well, I need to learn how their movements are and understand more about how they attack. The weapons I'm still kind of trying to get used to. I mean, the class I chose was hunter, so I know they're kind of like axe. They started off with an axe and a bow.
Is the bow worth the shit? Because they've always sucked.
I mean, it does good amounts of damage. For the amount of souls it takes to buy a single arrow, that's where I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. It's like 400 souls to buy a single arrow.
Blech.
That seems like a lot. It seems like a high price.
Yeah,
Too
but
much for an arrow.
I mean, they do a good amount of damage. You shoot like 3 arrows at a guy and they're pretty much dead. The aiming with the bow is kind of awkward. You have to
It always has been.
You have to be stationary, and it is just kind of very awkward. To the point of maybe I want to pick a different class.
Gotcha. Well, you can sort of change around you can respec it, and you can consider doing the easy mode thing, which I've haven't been sort of avoiding watching a lot of stuff on it, but I know one of the people in one of my Facebook groups is doing an easy mode playthrough where he's using magic, which was really overpowered in the original game, and I don't know, maybe that's something to consider. Maybe do like a hybrid, so you just at least have that option.
Mhm.
So how's it knocking your socks off visually? Is it everything that you'd want it to be in that department?
Yeah, it's been really beautiful. The scenery, I mean, the area that I'm in now, right before the Tower Knight, I mean, you've got the giant dragon who's swooping over the bridge and breathing fire down at you, and I mean, everything looks polished and really good.
Well, that's good to hear, and we all knew it because it looks incredible from the trailers. The one of the only truly next gen games available at this time. So why don't we close out the show with a question from Golden Age Retriever? Thanks for writing in. He wants to know, after getting a 4K TV, been a little bit behind the curve, but it's been blowing his mind. But what are your thoughts on Ultra HD gaming, and what genres do you think will benefit the most and the least with these enhanced graphical capabilities?
Well, I just recently discovered that how to get my TV and my console to 4K HDR, so that's been nice. I was definitely able to tell in certain parts of Assassin's Creed as the lights shining through in a magical way.
Oh, you got HDR going?
It's not I don't think it's like full HDR. It's not like RGB HDR. It's like that YUV whatever HDR option it is.
Okay. Well, yeah, the HDR personally for me has been the more of a significant game changer than 4K, which I notice, but I don't notice all the time. Like when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I had the first couple days on my 40-inch 1080p TV. And then I got the TCL 6 series, which has pretty good HDR, and it's just a knock. It totally almost the equivalent of jumping from SD to HD in terms of its um, just immersion and just the sun actually being able to make your pupils change in their size because of how bright moments are. And so I think that it's exciting. I think that a lot of these games coming out for the Series X and PS5 are going to be taking advantage of it in ways that we probably haven't seen before, or ways that we used to always have to trade off, frame rate or resolution for what we wanted to get the more out of. I mean, we're still going to have to make that choice in some games, whether we want to do performance mode or whether we want to do graphical fidelity mode, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, what about Anthony and Kenny? You recently bought a new TV, Kenny?
Yes, I did. Mine is on. We got the 4K Ultra HD with HDR, so it's real nice. For me, what genre I think is gonna thrive the most with this, all the graphics looking as beautiful as it is, I would say the action RPGs and action adventure games and RPGs. More realistic it gets, like the Final Fantasies. I can only imagine how the next Final Fantasy is going to look for Tyler, on 4K on the PS5,
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I think the ones that really aren't going to take, and it's like kind of like this is a cheap answer. The indie games aren't really going to be like jumping out the gate really, fully using the PS5 and the Xbox Series X to the full potential graphics wise, but they're indie games, so I'm sorry, that is a cheap answer.
No.
It's like sliding out the side door. But
I'll give another cheap answer. I don't think any genre will suffer the least or anything. Like everyone's going to benefit from it. Like you can't necessarily. You can always make games look worse if you're going for a retro feel or something like that.
Mhm.
And it'll take time. You're right, for indie developers to be able to fully, utilize the features that the PS5 and the Series X has. But there are some exceptions. Like, I mean, I could see Hades running on a PS5 and really benefiting from just running at 120 frames per second and 4K and HDR, and that being really something gorgeous to look at, as well as maybe lesser known ones such as Hyper Light Drifter, or everything gets better with more color options and
Yeah, being
higher
clear. If it
saturation.
makes it clear, it makes it better. At least for me.
Word. All right, gang. Well, the slew of games certainly took us beyond our typical episode length without a topic of the show, as per
expected, right?
was predicted. Yes.
So
Not
many.
enough time.
I would say before we log off, I know me and Anthony have been throwing some ideas around for the Discord. So
Okay.
that'll be some things that we hope, if you're not in the Discord, join it. We're gonna try and boost up that engagement in the Discord, get people talking, maybe some badges to people that are up there talking all the time. If anything, it's a no-brainer. First badge will go out to Golden Age Retriever when we get those drawn up.
Hell yeah. Can't forget Broadway Vic.
I don't know, no, not Broadway Vic. because he likes you, Wiley, we're not giving Broadway Vic a badge.
Oh well.
He gets to eat his own badge.
I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him for liking me. He just doesn't know better.
It's good. The badge is just gonna be your face. It's just gonna be you smiling because he calls you Smiley Wiley.
Broadway Vic's badge is gonna be Wiley. That's it. A face of Wiley. Like, thanks for tuning in.
I'm A-okay with that. I'm looking at all these Switch games on Walmart, and they're all like, add price to cart to see.
Yeah, there's a lot. I was just looking at that, and it doesn't look like there's really anything that stands out, kind of being like, "Whoa, buy me now," or "That's a good deal." Maybe as we get closer to the dreaded day.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're out, guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Kenny's calling it. All right.
Catch you next week.
Pick the phone. Hello.
See everybody next week.